Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Heart Breathings. I am having a low energy day. And I know that for some of you who have PCOS or a chronic illness, or you're just tired or you fight anxiety or depression, sometimes we have days, sometimes more often than not, depending on the cycle that we're in our lives, where we wake up and we just don't feel our best. I am definitely having, for lack of a better term, a PCOS flare up today where I can feel everything in my body is swollen. I'm having some pain and aches. My eyes are constantly watering. It's typical symptoms. I'm having lots of anxiety, and there are things that I wanted to get done today. So how do you find this balance between I need to take care of myself and I also want to get stuff done and keep working toward my goals? So I thought instead of doing what I plan to do today, which is more higher energy, weekly reset, clean the whole house, do my planning, that I would just sit down and talk to you for a few minutes about how I handle it when I'm low energy. So let's have a little chat. So the first thing really is if you wake up and you're not feeling great, no matter what else needs to get done, assess whether or not you would benefit right now from rest, because rest is so vital when we're dealing with flare-ups, when we're dealing with anxiety or difficult days or just stress that comes out of nowhere, and trying to force ourselves to be as productive as possible really just avoids whatever's causing the stress or amplifies it and makes it worse over time. But a lot of times, the act of resting can also bring on feelings of guilt and shame because we feel guilty that we're not getting as much done, or we feel guilty that maybe it's the third day in a row that we've needed rest, or you feel shame because we think, I'm just being lazy. I'm not going after everything. Everyone else in my house or in my life is working harder than I am. And truthfully, those feelings of guilt and shame are useless. They're less than useless, right? They don't help us in any way. All they do is prevent us from getting the needed rest from getting the rest we actually need so that we can show up better tomorrow or next week or whenever we've gotten that rest. All it does is cause more stress. And if you're like me, where this chronic flare-up is coming from some other kind of stress on your body or your mind, it's not going to help to just keep piling that on. Even if you're laying down in bed and taking a break, if you're mentally continuing to beat yourself up, you're just going to be building up those toxins and that stress in your system. So deep breath, give yourself permission to take a rest. In my HB90 boot camp, which starts tomorrow, by the way, if you want to come join us, it's time to plan for Q4. I always recommend building in a lot of buffer time, and you know better than anyone how often you need that. And there's no shame, there's no guilt in needing more rest than some other people around you, or needing more rest in this period of your life than you did in a previous month or a previous year or whatever. We're always going through changes in our lives and different cycles. And if you're in a cycle where you just need more rest, it's okay to do less. And in fact, if you can create a plan for yourself where you've already planned that you're taking 10 days off this month or 10 days off this quarter or whatever, then you don't feel any guilt because you know you've already planned for that time off. And so today is going to be a lower energy day, and that's okay because I have those buffer days stacked up waiting for me, kind of like sick days, and I know that I can take them without feeling guilt. So number 2 is to really eliminate or delegate or really make some changes to your plan so that you're only focusing on things that absolutely have to get done by you. So take a look at your schedule or whatever is stressing you out or you feel like needs to get done. What can you just completely eliminate? Doesn't need to get done today. You can do it next week. Like, is that Instagram post really going to make all that much difference? Probably not. Let's just do it on Monday. It'll be fine. But then there may be some things that really are important to keeping things going, Like you need to clean up the kitchen. The kids' clothes have to get washed because they've got school tomorrow and they got to have their uniform, whatever it may be. There might be some things that have to get done. So ask yourself, can I delegate this to someone else? Can I ask for help? Because there's also no shame in asking for help, even if you need help. Quite often, that's what our partners are there for. That's what our friends and our family hopefully are there for. And if you don't have anyone else, maybe you can hire someone, or you can just not let the laundry get done, or just do the bare minimum. And it's okay. No matter which of those situations you're in, it's okay to do just the things that absolutely have to get done and not beat ourselves up. Like the dishes can stay dirty for a couple of days. Maybe the uniforms need to get washed. So prioritize like what has to get done and what has to get done by you. And if you come across something that just needs to get done by you, or you know you're going to feel regret, or you know that it just really was something that was important to you, then how can you do it in the most low energy way possible? Like it's going to take the least away from you. So today, for example, I had wanted to record an entire house reset. I was going to do my weekly reset, my plan with me, clean up the whole house, like record the whole thing. I don't have the energy for that, and that's okay. But I still wanted to have a video up today because HB90 starts tomorrow, and I wanted to remind people and I wanted to get out there. So I just checked in with my intuition and said, what can I use this low energy, not feeling great, sort of chronic flare-up day to say that would be super easy and chill? So I'm just sitting down for 10 or 15 minutes to talk to you here about how I deal with this kind of day. Super, super low energy, low effort, but I still get the video up. So eliminate it if you can, delegate it, or ask for help if you can. And if not, do what feels good to you in the most low energy, low stakes way that you can. Number 3 is exactly going back to that low versus high energy, is identify, if you can, what tasks on your list for this upcoming week or however long you need to rest are high energy task versus low energy task. And this is really something that you can have figured out even on a good day. So I have an entire workbook, if you're on my newsletter list, that's called the Energy Audit. And I will leave it in the description for you below as well. If you're not on my list and you want to sign up for that to get it for free, we have tons of resources in the Heart Breathing's resource library for free that you can download and print or use on your iPad. And one of them is an energy audit. And I go through this process there of choosing and writing down your high energy tasks versus your low energy tasks. So if you're somebody who is just at a point where you're like, I need to keep moving forward, I don't want to lose my momentum, I do want to get some stuff done, and I'm not completely like out of it, and I don't need to just rest all day, but I do need to kind of take it easy, because there are going to be some days where you just need to rest and you don't get anything done, and that's okay. But some days maybe you're like, I know I can do some stuff. That's where I am today, but I want to do something more low energy. So you could scrap your plans and stay flexible, but choose something off your list that's more low energy. This could be different for everyone. Like your list may look very different from mine. Like for me, planning gives me energy. It makes me feel better. But for some people, planning is just like exhausting to make all those decisions. For some people, answering emails is super easy and low energy. And for other people, like my husband, it's like the most stressful thing to have to answer emails and make sure they're worded exactly the right way. So this list is very personal to you. What is a low energy task? What's something that's low hanging fruit, something you can easily get done? And if you have planned with something like the HB90 system, those tasks are going to be up there on your Kanban board or on your list anyway, like on Trello. So it can be helpful when you're making those plans to go ahead and separate out or identify which ones are really low energy and which ones are high energy, so that when you wake up and you're having a bad day, you can just pick from the low energy tasks and keep moving forward. Number 4 is really to have some type of non-negotiable self-care that you always put into your schedule. So this is a little bit more preventative, and it doesn't solve everything. Obviously, you're still going to have days where you have flare-ups or anxiety or other things, but a couple of years ago, I was dealing with debilitating anxiety. Really, at the beginning of this year, I was dealing with some debilitating anxiety some days where I would get out of bed and immediately, as soon as I woke up, I was having like shaking, stomach aches, feeling like a panic attack. And so part of what I had to do, like in that moment, I had to do whatever I needed to do to deal with that for myself, take some breaks, help myself in the panic of the moment. But once I calmed down and I started realizing this was happening more often than was really healthy for me, I decided I needed to put in some non-negotiable self-care things and reduce my stress overall as a preventative measure. And it has literally changed my life. So if you've been in this channel for a while, you know that one of the things I started doing was actively getting back to a joy of writing. And that has been massively game changer. I cut down on the number of courses I'm running this year. I cut down a little bit on the number of videos that I've recorded. And I have gone really deep into sort of romanticizing my writing, getting back to this love of it, the things that I loved about it in the first place, and sort of indulging myself in reading books, in creating an office space that feels good, drinking tons more water, which I know doesn't sound like it's related to writing, but it's just those non-negotiable self-care things that allow me to feel and be more creative, keeping my house more tidy, putting reminders and affirmations up on my mirror, making my bed every morning, getting up at the same time every single day, establishing a nighttime routine. We got some smart lights in our bedroom, and we got one of those Google hubs, I think it's called a Google Home Hub or whatever, and it plays relaxing rain sounds, but I can set it up with a morning routine now where it gradually turns on the lights in my bedroom and I wake up at the same time every day. These kind of things have been completely game changing for me. And it's not really a do this today kind of thing. It's a slowly ease into these routines over time. But I do encourage you to start integrating and thinking about some routines that are non-negotiable self-care. Bubble baths, walks, meditation, just taking a little bit of that stress off your plate, therapy, more water, more sunlight, whatever that list looks like for you. Start doing as much of that as you're capable of on a daily basis. As often as you can, start bringing these things into your life, and you're going to start to see a big difference in the long term. And the final tip that I try to integrate as much as possible is to begin developing and creating systems for ease and effortlessness in your life. So my friend Denise Duffield Thomas has a book called Chill and Prosper, which I highly recommend all entrepreneurs read. I'm actually quoted in this book, by the way, if you happen to grab it, but she talks about having a keyless life. And in that book, she kind of discusses how when she got her first car that had keyless entry, it's like all the cars have it now, but for a long time you had to actually physically put a key into the car. But now almost all cars come with keyless entry. And in fact, my Tesla doesn't even have a key. It just opens from my phone, which is just so wild. But you just press the button and the car unlocks, right? And what she started to understand was if she could create as much ease in her life in all ways, in her meal prep, in her business, in the way that she interacts with the kids' teachers, or all of these different things, like which areas of her life could she make keyless, meaning so easy at the touch of a button, it's done for you. And of course, some of this takes money, which she is a millionaire, so she has built up her life to be able to do that. But some of these things are also somewhat easy. So for me, one of the things that I do is routines. So I plan out my entire week of meals. It used to be super stressful for me to figure out every single night for dinner, what are we going to have? What's happening? The kids are arguing, all this stuff. And it caused a lot of stress in my life. What I do now is every Saturday or Sunday, I sit down, I make a meal plan for the entire week. And it's often just the same things repeated over and over on a rotation. I have it all in any list on my phone. And then I just put that grocery list into my HEB app, order the groceries, and it's done. And that feels pretty darn keyless because I have my typical Monday night already set up. I just click order groceries, done, 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 done. Go and pick it up the next morning. And that has made things a lot easier than every day looking through the pantry, trying to figure out what I'm going to eat, running to the grocery store, all those kind of things that felt more chaotic. And so I have been looking pretty consistently for how can I create that level of ease, that sort of keyless life in all areas of my life, in my business, in my relationships, in my meal prep, in the way that I run my house. It's a Saturday, so the kids are out there getting ready for lunch. So another concept that she talks about in that book that really stuck with me, this is a little bit gory for a fable. So just a little bit of warning, you can skip to the timestamp on here if you don't want to hear this, because I know it might upset children. I don't know, even though it's probably a children's story. But there is a Aesop's fable called The Golden Goose. And it's about maybe like a farmer and his wife who have this goose, or sometimes it's a hen or a chicken or something, who every day lays a golden egg, like just made of pure gold. And of course, that's riches right there. But they start to get greedy and they think, you know what, if we just cut this chicken open or this goose open, we could get all the gold out of it all at once. And so they do that. But of course, when they cut it open, they find that it's just like a normal goose on the inside. And now they will never, because they've killed it, have more golden eggs. So sorry for the gory nature of that explanation, but it really stood out to me because in our businesses as writers, entrepreneurs, sticker owners, realtors, moms, like whatever it is that we're doing, we are the golden goose. Like, things don't get done, the money doesn't get made, the books don't get written without us. And so if we tear ourselves apart trying to get all the work, trying to squeeze every tiny moment of work out of ourselves, we're just going to find that there's no more eggs left to give. There's no more gold. There's no more abundance. In order for us to continue to produce these golden eggs, these books, these great creative ideas, these life-changing like works that we're doing in our lives, we need that rest cycle to be able to rest and then produce and rest and produce. And really one of the biggest keys to finding success in our lives is on an individual basis, figuring out what we need to help support us in producing our most creative and best work. And it rarely is about pushing ourselves beyond a level of good health. So that's it for today. Just a simple discussion, some tips that have made a difference for me. Head down to the description to grab that energy audit workbook if you're not already on my list. If you are on my list, then I've sent you an email today with a reminder of that freebie. And I hope that you are having a good day, a healthy day. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Come join us in the HB90 Bootcamp. I promise you it can be life-changing to create a plan where you know you have buffer days, where you know you have low energy versus high energy tasks. And you don't have to plan every day. You just have to plan for the quarter. And now you always know and you have clarity on what you can get done throughout the quarter. So let's plan together for an amazing end to 2023. I hope to see you in there. If you're an alumni, of course, you can go back through the course for free. So I will hope to see you on the kickoff call. And I'm sending you all my love. Bye for now.